Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to yet another video regarding Rocket League news. Today's video, we're going to be covering a little bit more info on RLCS X. A lot of rudeness that is completely unjustified for Aztral. Rumors of apparently Dappur going to Charlotte Phoenix, and much more. As always, you guys know what to do. Social media links can be found right below me. All those links can be found in the description down below. And if you guys enjoy the content, please make sure you give it a thumbs up as it helps me out. Questions, comments, concerns, drop those down below as well. And make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already. But with that said, let's get into the video. To kick things off, we found out a little bit more information in regards to RLCS X. Gibbs ended up putting out a video in regards to the breaking down of the format as well. The benefit to it is the fact that Gibbs is also working in partnership with Soniqs to help with these formats, which is nothing new. Gibbs has always been a big reason as to why the formats and the seeding and the things work the way they do, and has always worked hand in hand with Soniqs. So glad to see that he had a lot of hand in the way that this format altogether has kind of come together. There are some things, though, I disagree with. Things like how some of the qualifying matches are only a best of 5 instead of a best of 7. But two things we did find out in regards to the format specifically for the fall split. The first one is that the international majors will also follow the same exact format or the challenge that they're following for that split in the regional event. So the international major for the fall split will also follow the same Swiss style format. If you guys aren't sure what the Swiss style format is or any of that kind of information or about the RLCS X season coming up, check out my previous video I put out in regarding to breaking down the format in details, which you can find up here. We also found out that for split one, because there's a ton of matches in a Swiss style format, that each group that plays is only going to be one day. There's not going to be watching 32 teams on one day because the amount of matches would be absolutely insane. So 16, which will be whatever teams end up winning multiple matches first and hitting that threshold of how many games that are desired, that is when they'll kind of cut it off. So a little bit better way to go about being able to consume the content. Otherwise, it would just be overwhelming how much is coming through. I hate that I even have to bring this up, but during the 1v1 going in for Salt Mine between oKhalid and Aztral, there was a lot of toxicity or banter, I guess if people want to call it, going back and forth, where they're what is saving each other with quick chats and a bunch of other things going on. Big thing I have a problem with is that after Aztral ends up losing, 2,000 to 4,000 people end up going to his chat and start spamming a slew of profanities, racial slurs, a bunch of easies, and the one that gets me the most is telling him to kill himself. Now, a lot of people have taken this out of hand, and this isn't the first time that Astral's spoken up about this. The first time was after we saw the regional championships and the world championship comm videos. Aztral was seen to be a little bit more negative and a little bit more toxic, and part of the reasons as to why Dignitas is no longer playing with him, even though Aztral has come out and stated that he is not playing with him due to his own choice. He didn't really feel like he had friends on the team, so he went to leave and wanted to go to an all-French roster because what Vitality has done has seemed rather enticing. After that ended up happening, he ended up talking on stream and going in regards, talking about how I hate that I get kind of flamed and targeted for this just because of the way that I acted in one video, and has asked the people that these things do hurt my feelings. These things are not okay. Please stop. It's not my job to pay attention and babysit and do all that kind of stuff to the community, but if I ever see any of you in any of the chats that I'm in from this community and I recognize your name, you better believe I'm going to have a talking with you. I mean, I honestly don't know what to say, but shame on the community for this stuff happening. This is absolutely disrespectful and just going way too far. It's one thing to criticize and talk about things that the player is doing poorly or bad performances or whatever it is, and these fandoms do happen. That is totally different from being in chat and talking about criticisms and how they didn't do something well and having open discussion, rather than going to this person's personal chat where they are sitting there and they're playing and they're providing entertainment for you, and that is the decision that you make and the things that you tell this person to do. Just baffles me that people can actually do this. In a positive light, if you guys ever need a place to come and talk Rocket League and have healthy discussion about the pros, the formats, the things that are going on in the esports or not in the esports, even if it's just updates coming out from Soniqs, you are always welcome to come to my channel, twitch.tv/Lawler. Please come join us. We would love to have a healthy environment where you guys can feel welcome and at home, where you can have good conversation, or you can just sit and lurk and listen. It does not matter, but I promise you that will never be tolerated in my channel. Speaking of Aztral and the all-French roster, there has been some adjustments to the Oxygen roster as their longtime coach, Yummy Cheeseman, OCE extraordinaire, caster, and good friend of mine, has been released. In the Twitter post, they talk about how they're going to be moving forward with an all-French-speaking roster, and because of that, they're going to be bidding farewell to Coach Yummy Cheeseman. They give him thanks and express formalities, and they look forward to seeing what he does in the future. Yummy did put out a response shortly after thanking his amazing time with Fair, Fruity, and Shawzette and Aztral, and then reminisces on some of the moments that he'll remember and hold dear to him. He also then talks about his future plans and how he's not exactly sure what will be happening, but he's going to attempt to get back into casting now that there's not a conflict of interest when it comes to coaching an RLCS team, as well as trying to bring back some of his streams, as well as possibly going into freelance coaching and doing some tournament organizing. So again, Yummy Cheeseman, I hate to say it, but the freelance life is a tough one, but I wish you the best of luck. There's also been recent rumors about how Dappur is no longer going to be on Soniqs, which quite honestly is a surprise to me based upon performances of other players on the team. But I do agree that some changes need to be made, and with that, it looks like Dappur is going to be the one that is going to be off of the team Soniqs. Along with that, there has been rumors that he is going to be going and trying out for Charlotte Phoenix. This is a team that is guaranteed into day 3 of the regional events when it comes to RLCS X. But one of the other things with this is that Wonder Mike and many other players that are still available as free agents have also tested out on this roster. So it'll be interesting to see where Dappur ends up if this ends up being true. Again, still a rumor, not confirmed. Don't know if this is a thing or not. Beyond the Summit has also announced for the Summer Shuffle the 6 teams that are automatically invited, but something else that we didn't know about, or at least I didn't know about, is that they're going to have 2 teams coming in from a qualifier. They don't say any details about the 2 teams that are going to be joining on in a later qualifier. They just put an eye emoji and kind of tease the whole situation. So interesting to see how that'll play out, but they do mention that it'll be joining them later on. So for this, I can assume that the tournament starts on July 7th, and then somewhere in the tournament, we're going to have some different teams. Again, that'll be Tuesday, June 7th on twitch.tv/BTS Rocket League. More details can be found on the Liquipedia page I'll drop down below. And the top comment comes from Shadowdoth, where it says, daily the field, weekly the grind, monthly the regionals every 3 months, international, and yearly a world championship. Essentially, this exact same tweet actually ended up coming out from Murdy Shaw, more commonly known as Scheist, who works at the esports team for Soniqs. A long time ago, there was always this focus from Soniqs where they wanted to have a vision with a clear path on how to make it and become one of the best in the world at the RLCS, and this coincides with that. Soniqs has always had this mentality of where they want to be inclusive and allow everybody to become involved in the World Championship, despite knowing that the 0.0001% are going to be the ones that actually come in and compete as pros. They still want to provide the feeling to the casual fan base that there is a chance and there is a direct path on how to become a professional. This also coincides with the mentality of how they want Rocket League to become a traditional sport. They don't want it to just be a esport. They want it to bridge that gap and eventually lead into and be considered as a traditional sport. And I think many of us agree that Rocket League could definitely be that thing. So what's interesting about this is that you now, as a casual player or as a player in general, know exactly what you need to accomplish in step-by-step fashion to figure out what it means to become a pro. You're talking, if you're a player, the field is for you. Every single day, there's times to grind with your team, and you know exactly what you need to compete in to be considered in one of those divisions that we talked about in a previous video, which I'll link somewhere up here. But you're discussing that as a player that is trying to aspire to be a pro, whether you're at a certain age or not, and I don't know if there's age restrictions on that, but at least you understand that I need to play in this to get to that next level. And if I'm not eligible for this, what are the requirements? And you can easily look up, well, Grand Champ is kind of the #1 thing. So go and become a Grand Champ. That's your first motive. If you can't get to Grand Champ through the ranking system, then you've got a lot to work on. So once you accomplish that, and once you figure out that, you now have daily events to compete in with a team, which is essentially going to make you better. Like by default, if playing in competitive environment over and over again, you will get better. And once you start to climb, once you start to get into those higher divisions in Division 2 and Division 1, and then you start qualifying for some of these matches, you now realize, well, hey, you know, I'm playing pretty well. Maybe I can get into these regional tournaments and possibly into the grid. And these are the weekly events. So you're going to start focusing on now, you know what, it's open qualifiers. I can sign up for these things. I can start playing in these events. And in the weekly, it'll start to break down. So you're now playing in the weekly events. Possible chance you end up being a wild card from the grid where you're in enough grid points and all of a sudden you find yourself first overall in the grid and you're into an international major and you end up coming back every single split. You find yourself involved in not only the grid and the grid points and the international majors, but because you've been performing so well, you actually get invited or you end up re-qualifying for these regional events that happen 3 times the split. And now that you have that down, and that's been going on for weeks and months at a time, you can then start focusing on the fact that, you know what, I want to make sure I'm at every single one of these majors. We got a taste of it and I want to do it again. You start grinding some more, and at this point, this is when you start to realize that organizations and other people want to invest in you because they realize how talented you as a squad are. And eventually it ends up leading to you guys having a successful performance, a lot of backing. You take yourself to the next level and you find yourself at Worlds. That's the whole point of why this system exists. You want to foster talent and give them a step-by-step situation on answering all the questions of what's next. What do I need to do to inspire myself to make sure I can become a pro? And that's the whole point of the system, and I think it's why I'm so excited about it. In esports, it has never really been easy to figure out where this stuff is just put on a platter for you and said, this is exactly what you need to do to become a professional at this game, other than work hard, try really hard, make a name for yourself, and maybe you'll get picked up. This will actually show you a step-by-step thing on how to accomplish those goals. I think my favorite thing about these tournaments is that they are open qualifiers for the regional events. The ability for anybody in the public to sign up and have a chance and provide these really unique, historic, and really crazy storyline runs. The one that comes to mind the most for me are the teams like Team Echo Zulu and the Peeps and how they won DreamHack. Those things can happen now every single time, and it means that no one is safe. There's always going to be these new motivated young kids, these high prospects, and that's how you foster new talent. So again, I'm really happy about this. I think it's a fantastic comment and something to bring up and something for me to further talk about. So again, absolutely love what's trying to be done here, and I really hope that the backing is supporting it and this goes off without a hitch. That is going to wrap it up for this video. First and foremost, I want to say thank you guys for making it this far as well as tuning in. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or any ideas, make sure you drop those down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to you and may even feature one of those comments in future videos. Another thing, with it being the 4th of July when this video comes out, I will not be streaming today, and there will not be a video tomorrow. I'm going to go up north for some mental relaxation, hang out with some friends and family, drink a little bit, hang out, and just try to relax. And if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you give it a thumbs up as well as hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the videos. But that is going to do it for me. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday. Peace. Chat's actually saying Yu-Gi-Oh!
You can do it, Joey. You just have to believe in the heart of the cards.
It's time to... Dude, I should just say duel a bunch and then mute and unmute my mic and see how well it goes.
There's a match on, Lawler.
Yeah, but it's no match for my Red Eyes Black Dragon.
Red Eye.